Has an angel ever dared to love someone she was never meant to love? A married man, a figure of power in a world where emotions were meant to be controlled. And if she did, could Hollywood ever forgive her? The spotlight flares to life. Annette Funicello, the fresh-faced symbol of 1950s America, steps out to the roar of millions. Soft brown hair, eyes that sparkle with innocence, and a smile so warm it makes you forget she's just a girl. America called her Walt Disney's angel. But where the lights shine the brightest, the shadows always begin to grow. They say it all began on a secluded island, where the waves swallowed not only sound, but secrets. One summer, a married man and a young woman who had never known that the heart could betray the mind. From that moment, the image of the Disney angel began to crack. Not because of sin, but because she dared to live truthfully, to feel deeply. If you believe that behind every legend lies a heart that once ached, then hit subscribe and step with us into the story of Annette Funicello, where truth and whispers become one. Annette Joanne Funicello was born in 1942 in Utica, New York, into a warm, modest Italian immigrant family. Her father was a mechanic, her mother a homemaker, and neither could have imagined that their little girl would one day become one of the most beloved faces in America. One afternoon in 1955, inside a small California theater, a man stood quietly at the back of the audience watching. That man was Walt Disney. He saw a 12-year-old girl performing ballet on stage, bright eyes, a pure smile, and softly whispered, "That girl has light." From that moment, Annette's life changed forever. She became the standout Mouseketeer on the Mickey Mouse Club, and within just a few months, the name Annette became a symbol of American childhood. Audiences adored her innocence, her smiling eyes, and the way she made people believe that even in a world driven by ambition, a pure heart could still exist. And perhaps that very light, the one Walt Disney first saw in her, was also what made Hollywood both love her and fear her for the rest of her life. What do you think about this, and let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on the stories hidden behind the brightest lights of Hollywood. Few years later, while the glow of Disney still surrounded her, Annette accepted a role in a major film being shot off the coast of California. It was an ambitious production. Enormous budget, rugged scenery, and a crew that would live in isolation for weeks, surrounded only by the vastness of sea and sky. The island had no press, no radio signal, only the sound of wind through palm trees and waves crashing endlessly against the shore, a world far removed from the glittering Hollywood they all knew. Among those on the island was a man, a renowned producer, decorated with awards, calm in demeanor, quiet yet observant. He was nearly 20 years older than Annette, with a wife and 2 children back home. But his eyes, people said, carried a kind of loneliness only those who have stood on the mountaintop can understand. They say he didn't look at her as a star, but as a woman lost within her own light. On quiet nights after filming, they would sit and talk about pressure, about solitude, about what it felt like to become an image so polished that even they no longer recognized themselves. Some claimed he always kept his distance, but his eyes never knew how to lie. One evening, when a storm rolled in and filming ended early, someone saw them sitting by the shore, just 2 silhouettes, silent beneath the sound of waves and distant thunder. No one ever knew what truly happened on that island. There was no proof, no confession, only the change that those closest to Annette noticed when she returned. Her smile was still bright, still gentle, but her eyes had changed, softer, deeper, and touched with a sadness, as if she had left a piece of her heart somewhere the waves would never stop telling their story. The sound of waves crashing in rhythm with surf rock vibrant bikinis and sunlit smiles. That was the world of Annette Funicello in the 1960s. Alongside Frankie Avalon, she became the heart and soul of the beach party films, where American youth was wrapped in sand, sunlight, and songs that never seemed to end. The girl with soft dark hair, sun-kissed skin, and a carefree smile walked along the shore as if summer itself had been born from her footsteps. People loved her for her natural grace, for the way she made simple joy feel like magic. But Hollywood, like another wave, never stopped at beautiful enough. When the sensual winds of Europe began to blow through with Bardot, Lauren and Welch, producers, started to whisper, "It's time for Annette to grow up and be sexier." They say a new script arrived, filled with daring bikini scenes and a dance the director promised would make all of America blush. But Annette, Disney's angel, simply smiled. "I can grow up," she said, "but I don't need to lose myself to prove it." While Hollywood chased the fever of desire, she chose to stand still, in the sunlight, on the sand, preserving the pure scent of summer that no one else had the courage to believe in anymore. They say that just 1 week after Annette refused to film the daring bikini scene in the new script, a major movie deal, the most anticipated project of the summer, suddenly disappeared. No explanation, no official statement, just a canceled phone call followed by silence. And in Hollywood, silence always means something bigger. The newspapers at the time merely wrote that the schedule changed, but everyone in the business knew schedules don't change overnight. Some whispered that Walt Disney had quietly stepped in, hoping to protect the image of the girl he once called his spiritual daughter. Others murmured that this was the price of defiance, that Annette had refused to give Hollywood what it valued most in women: obedience. After that, she still showed up on set, still smiled for the cameras, but the light in her eyes had shifted. There was a trace of sadness, a quiet strength, as if she had finally seen the truth behind the city of dreams, where nothing comes for free, not even innocence. And sometimes, to keep one's dignity, one must sacrifice the very dream they built with their own hands. In an interview years later, Annette smiled softly and said, "Mr. Disney didn't want me to show my belly button, and I agreed." The line sounded light as air, yet behind it was a rare kind of choice, one almost extinct in an era where innocence was being auctioned off to the highest bidder. For Annette, keeping her wholesome image wasn't about fear, it was about self-respect, and respect for the children who had grown up watching her. In a world where people would trade anything for a little more fame, she chose the opposite, to stand still and protect her boundaries. But Hollywood doesn't love those who know when to stop. In that world, saying no is the same as stepping out of the spotlight. The offers began to fade. The contracts quietly slipped into other hands. And amid glittering parties, whispers spread that Annette was too pure to be desirable. It's said that Walt Disney once told a director privately, "That girl gives the audience something to believe in. Don't make her lose it." Annette kept that promise until the end. She understood that some things, light, fame, can be regained. But once you lose yourself, there's no way back. A live television broadcast. Bright lights, a packed studio audience, the cameras slowly panning toward the stage. Millions of Americans sat before their screens, waiting for the Disney angel to appear. Just minutes before airtime, when everything was ready, the props, the lights, the music, Annette's dressing room suddenly fell silent. Her custom-made performance dress had vanished. No explanation, no trace. The assistant ran through the corridors in panic, heels echoing against the floor while the director barked into his headset, 3 minutes to air. Annette remained seated before the mirror. No anger, no fear. In the reflection, she appeared calm, composed, as if nothing had happened. Finally, she slipped into a backup dress, a little loose at the shoulders, a bit too long for the frame, not quite made for her. But when she stepped onto the stage, she smiled. That familiar smile that made millions believe the world was still full of good things. To the audience, she was perfect. But to those in the business, everyone knew something had been disturbed. After the broadcast, when the studio was empty, a janitor found the missing dress stuffed into a prop bin, crumpled, dusted with powder, and marked by a faint lipstick stain on the collar. No one claimed it. No one asked questions. But Hollywood, as always, was never short on whispers. Some said it was nothing more than jealousy, a petty prank by young actresses who had never stood in the spotlight. Others believed it was Hollywood's way of reminding Annette that in this world, every light comes with a price. And sometimes that price is paid not by enemies, but by the smiling faces closest to you, the ones whose shadows stretch longer than the stage lights themselves. Malibu, under the blazing summer sun of 1964. The heat shimmered, the ocean wind roared, and the crew was preparing to film one of the most breathtaking scenes. Annette surfing for real, no stunt double. She laughed brightly, standing on her white surfboard, hair flying in the wind, surrounded by cheers from the set. But only seconds later, the moment shattered. A massive wave rose out of nowhere, stronger than anyone had anticipated. The board flipped, and Annette was thrown hard against a coral reef near the shore. Blood spread through the water. People dove in, shouting over the crashing surf. When they pulled her onto the sand, she was unconscious, her hair tangled with salt and sand. They say that when she finally opened her eyes in the hospital, the first thing she asked was, "Is the film still on schedule?" A few days later, she returned to the set, the wound still aching. Heavy makeup covered the bruises, the studio lights concealed her exhaustion. No one mentioned what had happened. No article ever wrote about it. In Hollywood, angels weren't allowed to be fragile. And Annette, like the image the world had built around her, smiled once again, as if nothing had happened. But in her eyes, something had quietly broken. Something that would never quite heal. It was supposed to be an ordinary evening. After auditioning for a major film, the kind of role every young actress in Hollywood dreamed of, Annette received an invitation to dinner from a powerful producer. "We'll discuss the script in more detail," he said, his voice deep and velvety, his smile so gracious it was hard to refuse. She agreed, perhaps out of politeness, or perhaps because she believed that in this business, opportunity often knocks only when you dare to open the door. The restaurant sat high above Beverly Hills, its golden lights glinting off crystal glasses, soft piano music echoing in the corner. He spoke about the film, the character, the insights only someone experienced could share. At first, everything seemed professional, until his words began to blur the line. Polite conversation turned suggestive, hints wrapped in charm, conditions disguised behind a half smile. Annette went silent. Only a few seconds passed before she understood. Then she stood up. No anger, no tears, just the quiet dignity of someone who had seen the true face of a dream. She walked away, leaving behind not just the dinner, but the role she had once believed could change her life. The next morning, the phone rang. The studio assistant's voice was flat. "That part is no longer right for you. No explanations, no follow-ups, only Hollywood's familiar silence, the kind that has swallowed countless dreams and hidden 1,000 unspoken deals. Some say it was just a misunderstanding, but others believe that was the moment Annette realized sometimes the price of purity is being erased from your own dream." The 1970s. The bright glow of the beach party films slowly faded, like a sunset sinking into the sea. The surf rock melodies that once stirred the hearts of youth now echoed only in nostalgia. Movie theaters grew quiet, contracts became fewer. But Annette Funicello did not disappear. She didn't crumble, nor did she cling to her former fame. She simply stepped back, gently, without bitterness, like someone who understood that every light needs time to rest. She returned to music, the very thing that had first made her fall in love with the stage, long before the cameras arrived. Annette's voice, though never the most powerful, remained so pure and sincere that audiences could recognize it from the very first note. She sang of summer, of memories, of youth that once felt endless. When she wasn't in front of the camera, Annette embraced a quiet family life, a warm home, children's laughter, and peaceful afternoons spent with her kind-hearted husband. No scandals, no ambition, only tranquility, the kind she had perhaps been searching for all her life amid the noise of Hollywood. They say she kept all her old scripts in a wooden box. Whenever she opened it, she would smile, run her fingers across the pages, and whisper, "I lived the way I believed." In 1987, she reunited with Frankie Avalon for Back to the Beach. On screen, they laughed, they danced, they looked back on the youth that had long drifted away. It wasn't just a reunion of two icons. It was the moment of a woman who had walked through the light, weathered every storm, and still shone, in her own beautiful way. They say that somewhere in a small attic in Los Angeles, there once existed a letter Annette wrote in the late 1960s, addressed to a man by the sea. No one has ever seen the letter. No proof of its existence has ever surfaced. Yet the story continues to be whispered among those who once worked with her, a small secret carried away by the winds of time, but still tinged with the scent of the ocean in memory. According to the tale, the letter contained a single trembling line. "If love is a sin, then may the sea forgive us." Just one sentence, but enough to take your breath away. It wasn't a confession, nor an excuse, but rather an acknowledgement that sometimes, even the purest hearts cannot escape the longing to be loved. No one knows if the letter was ever real. Perhaps it was only a beautiful myth, a fragment Hollywood added to make its angel feel a little more human. But if that letter truly existed, it must have been written from the heart of a woman who loved completely, and chose to carry that secret with her all the way to the end. Sunset falls over the shores of Malibu. The last light drifts softly across the waves, golden like memory. On screen, between the old clips of the Mickey Mouse Club, appears an older Annette, silver hair, gentle eyes, and a smile still as radiant as if time itself had never touched her. In 1992, Annette revealed to the world that she was battling multiple sclerosis, a disease that slowly took away her movement, then her voice. Yet she never complained. No stage, no tears. Only a calm smile and a gaze that said more than any words could. Her husband, Glenn Holt, once said, "She kept smiling, as if even pain knew how to bow before her strength." Some say that on quiet Malibu evenings you can still hear the waves whispering softly, a sound that feels just like Annette's laughter once did, as if the ocean still remembers her, the girl who gave her youth to the light and somehow managed to keep her purest self intact. Annette Funicello, Disney's angel, the embodiment of an America that once believed in goodness, a woman who proved that innocence is not weakness, but a rare kind of strength. Between light and shadow, between truth and whispers, her story still echoes. And you? Do you believe Annette was simply Hollywood's last innocent girl, or a woman who dared to love at the wrong time? If you believe that behind every star lies an untold story, then hit subscribe and join us as we uncover the tender, powerful secrets of old Hollywood.